Welcome to Sword of the Stars. I am your host, Wolfen Ray 73. For 549 turns, the sovereignty of man has survived the brutal universe that is Sword of the Stars. Forged by the fires of hardship and struggle, the sovereignty of man has become an interstellar juggernaut on the galactic stage. Before you stands the crowning achievement of the sovereignty. The Sector High Command Naval Station located at Earth has just been completed. A virtual city in space capable of holding millions of souls. The first Sovereign Interstellar Summit is held here to give Parliament a clear picture as to the state of the sovereign domains. All the top dignitaries gather and are very excited for the future of the sovereignty. For example, a popular topic of discussion among them is the development of the new planetary colony at DM plus 23482, named Aria. Located along the border of Lear space, not only does this colony increase humanity's presence in the region, it is also a very strategic location should the Sleepless decide to make war again. Of course, no summit of this magnitude could go without much discussion of the sovereign finance institutions. All stocks and predictions show a healthy economy across the board. Consensus of morale, population, research, and naval strength keep pace within expected parameters. Meanwhile, within those hallowed halls, ministers of war collaborate military affairs. In the Arendano system, Sovereign Command decommissions 3 vessels of service and honor. The Ganges, the Yoshino, and the Graf Sway are venerated as 3 cruisers of distinction, serving well over 400 turns each. In Alpha Centauri, a naval parade is broadcast to all the known quadrant, sovereign and alien interstellar space alike. Why such a bold boast to the known galaxy, you may ask? The first human dreadnought-class battleship, Classic One, is off the assembly line and here before you in full display. 3 times larger than any starship previously encountered or built, the sovereignty of man shows its citizens and the neighboring species the results of enduring everlasting war. Let the species of the galaxy beware, for there are those who feel that the eternal preservation of human sovereignty should give way towards human imperialism. Only time will tell of these aspirations. So, what of war? Currently, the war against the Sulka wages. However, the Sul realize they are completely outclassed and outgunned by the sovereignty of man. So in response, the Sulka resort to guerrilla war, banditry, and slaver raids. Slavery, you may ask? Why, yes. It is said that the Zul have this belief that sacrifices must be made to some elder gods. This is on top of the genetic experimentation, forced labor, soul reaving, and the absolute exploitation of their environments. Let us see a typical slaver raid unfold at the world avatar in the Tumen system. As you can see, the world Avatar is nearly defenseless because it is located along the border of Lear space. No one in the Sovereign Command expected a Zool raid this far from the front. This is a great concern of the War Ministry, of course, as it is their responsibility to prevent this sort of thing from happening. However, it is quite problematic, as there is not enough funds to protect everybody everywhere. So the Zool have been quite effective in their guerrilla stance. Much to the dismay of the sovereignty, it is just now a fact of life that these terror attacks occur upon occasion, and much too often. 450 turns of constant war has hardened the people to endure. So even though this new method of war is being brought to the citizens, morale and belief in the sovereignty remains confident. Among the general population, the Zool are regarded as loathsome, feral dogs to be eradicated from the galactic stage. This prejudice steals the people's resolve to have courage in the face of this ongoing threat. A hero has arisen with the courage and fortitude that is the embodiment of the Sovereign Navy's ideals. Tala Linnaeus, an admiral of the Terra Nova colonial fleet, is faced with a full assault against the Sulca battle fleet of Imperator Kataba the Fearsome. She is assigned to the recent establishment of the world colony Redemption at L820-19. Imperator Kataba thought this target to be easy prey, but soon found the resolve of the sovereignty when met with this minor admiral of a small colonizing fleet. Admiral Tala Linnaeus confronts the Imperator Kataba at the system's gravity well edge. There she begins a delaying fighting withdrawal in the effort to harass and dwindle the Zool's battle supplies. Missiles and orders of magnitude are exchanged, but the technological superiority of the Sovereign Navy helps hold the small fleet in cohesion in the face of incoming fire. Standing on the bridge of her command vessel, Admiral Linnaeus addresses the citizens of Redemption in a worldwide broadcast.
I would not allow any Zool bombs fall upon you as long as I have breath. We will not abandon this world to the enemy, nor shall the Sovereign Navy surrender you to their fury.
The whole world of Redemption pauses and looks towards the sky with a salute. The people redouble their efforts as they prepare for planetary bombardment in the case death does come to the brave admiral and the sailors under her command. Indeed, all the enlisted men and women of the Terra Nova colonial fleet redouble their efforts to repel the Zool Imperator. For all know that they stand upon the dying ground. So now is the time to fight. The Imperator is no fool, though. He is not called the Fearsome for nothing. Seeing that the human fleet stall his advance to bombard the world of Redemption rather than retreat, he orders that his battle fleet fire the engines to overload. In this way, he may catch up to Admiral Linnaeus and engage in short-range combat, which, of course, is to his advantage. The Terra Nova colonial fleet certainly is in a precarious situation. They cannot try to outrun the Zool battle fleet, as this would undermine the purpose to stall them. Nor can they engage in close quarters combat, as the fleet only consists of one logistical, one colonial, one light, and one command cruiser. The firepower the Imperator can bring to bear easily will grind the Admiral to dust. So from the CIC of the Antilio Regalo, Admiral Linnaeus monitors the situation closely. Inspired by the courage of the sovereign naval fleet, young men and women rally to the planetary missile defenses. The citizens collectively pray a silent prayer, for all know and fear the tragedy of what happened when the Zul visited New Mesopotamia. Onward, Imperator Kataba pushes, and finally Admiral Linnaeus can go no further. After a swift orbit around Redemption, she forms up the fleet for a final stand. The captain of the picket cruiser, Nestor, volunteers to take point as they desperately charge headlong into certain death. Everybody knows the grim burden of truth. May God have mercy on their souls. So it begins. Swiftly, the Zul overwhelmed the sovereign fleet with a virtual hailstorm of large caliber projectiles. Even with all the defensive measures placed upon sovereign naval vessels, nothing can cope for long under the brutal thrashing dealt out by the Zul. Imperator Kataba focuses his efforts on the fleet and not upon the citizens of Redemption below. This proves to be a wise move, as quickly enough, the sovereign line buckles under the Zul's wedge. It is only a matter of time now, as the Terra Nova colonial fleet is now divided, ready to be conquered. This pleases Imperator Kataba greatly. Having pressed the advantage, Imperator Kataba sends suppressive fire to the left of Admiral Linnaeus' line. This pushes her to the backside of Redemption's orbit. Helplessly, the Admiral watches as the chasm between the Attilio Regalo and escort colony cruiser grows wide from the Nestor and her escort logistical cruiser. Now flawlessly, Kataba the Fearsome earns his name as he turns his fleet towards the right and closes the pincer against the Nestor and escort. There is nothing more to say. The battle ends with the loss of 2 cruisers, which is 50% of Terra Nova colonial fleet. Even though this is a resounding defeat, casualties and collateral damage remain minimal upon the planet of Redemption. Admiral Linnaeus and her fleet kept their promise through courage and through valor. So despite the high loss ratio to her fleet, Admiral Linnaeus is fully honored by the Sovereign Naval War Ministry, as well as her crew. She now joins the ranks as one of the Lord Admirals of the Sovereignty. The Sulca are not the most pressing matter of the Sovereignty War Ministry's topics of discussion. You may wonder why there is a big counter in the sector-based war room. That is because Sol System is about to be attacked by the Loa of the games machine. This takes place towards the end of the summit. And to explain how this came to be, I must start from the beginning. Humanity created the Loa. Originally, an artificial intelligence developed in the image of men to enhance our progress towards the future, somehow it grew to such complexity that it transcended the need for any corporeal form men could provide for it. So it left the realm of men and wandered the cosmos until it came to the star system Vil-Al Camp. Settling on a world there, it began to replicate itself, calling its collective consciousness the games machine. When the sovereignty of man rediscovered the games machine on turn 31, war ensued shortly thereafter. It seemed that the Loa used cubes to create their embodiment to interact with the physical plane of existence. Mysteriously enough, when the system killer came through and tore up a huge swath of the sovereignty of man's systems in the region of the Loa space, the games machine unexpectedly called for a peace that has endured until now. Do you remember early in the episode the human dreadnought parade of force in Alpha Centauri? Well, all the species that laid witness to it were humbled and in awe of the sovereignty's naval and industrial might. All except for the games machine, who saw this and broke their silence with humanity by declaring war. At first, the War Ministry did not know why or what to do, but this certainly was a good opportunity to test in the field the capabilities of the new dreadnought battleship design. Frontier Sector Command Station, located at Nirvana in the Arendano system, has also built its own dreadnought class battleship, and they named it Mesudai. The famed Lord Admiral Atlanta Naismith is in command as the Nirvana Revenge fleet crosses the human Loa border of Ro Eridani for the first time in 450 turns. Expecting heavy resistance on this preemptive strike, surprisingly, this well-developed system is left completely unguarded. Since humanity does not value the Loa as they do a biological species, Admiral Naismith orders the general bombardment on one of the planets in the system. Meant to be only a display of shock and awe, upon a return trip to the system, Admiral Naismith finds that all of Ro Eridani is simply turned off. Strange as this may be, Sovereign Frontier Command orders the colonial fleet at Taketi to colonize a world here, as one world is readily available. This will hopefully firmly establish a forward base for further advancement. Not to be outdone by Lord Admiral Naismith, the Lord Admiral Akira Sidgwick and his fleet, the Sword of Providence, intercept a command consciousness of the games machine at L789. This artificial consciousness identifies as named Tweaky Silicos. Lord Admiral Sidgwick is determined to demonstrate the firepower capabilities of the Dreadnought-class battleship in the field of fleet battle. His fleet is the one that went on parade in the Alpha Centauri system, and Commander Consciousness Silicos is determined to destroy the battleship Classic 1. Cheering can be heard in the streets of the world located there, Serenity, as the Sword of Providence displays itself in a flyby on its way to meet the games machine fleet at the edge of the system's gravity well. Once engaged, Command Consciousness Silicos sends an android boarding party to infiltrate Classic 1 from an internal standpoint. Unfortunately for Command Consciousness Silicos, a virtual army of Marines stand at the ready for such an event. So this attempt ends in complete failure. Thrusting forward in a full frontal assault, Lord Admiral Sidgwick stands off with Classic 1 as he dances around the lower fleet, softening them up with his cruiser escorts. Of course, the game machine fleet fire nearly exclusively all of its ordnance against the battleship, but to no avail. Not only is it completely ineffective, but truly pathetic, as no armor plating on the Classic 1 is even penetrated. Seeing solid shot just bounce off the sides of the battleship, Lord Admiral Sidgwick orders the Classic 1 to close in and deal out as much firepower as possible. The result is a humiliating defeat for the game's machine. A standing ovation can be seen and heard at the Sovereign Central Command Station as the War Ministry monitors the order of battle. It seems clear that the doctrine motto of, if the enemy has 3 times the firepower, we will bring 3 times the ship, has paid its worth. The Imperial political parties all stand at attention with jubilee, as Lord Admiral Sidgwick clearly demonstrates the sovereignty of man's military and naval superiority over their enemies. Open discussion on the subject transforms from the whispers and shadows. Many believe that there can be no peace in the galaxy for the sovereignty until it adopts imperial aspirations. Since no species ever encountered gave peace to humanity without bloodshed and suffering, it is spoken among many that humanity has a manifest to submit all species under the might of the sovereignty. Only then can humanity have peace assured. With this demonstration, those who still support peace, unless in defense, grows very silent. The seeds for the day when the sovereignty of man goes on the offensive is nigh. May all those species in the galaxy who made war with humanity beware. Finally, 0 hour comes. Not much is known about who the combatants are or the vessels involved. It seems that everything has been classified in this regard. However, the order of battle and its results are well known. The game's machine fleet, as well as the defenses of Sol, make this battle one of starfighter doctrine. Even the engineering and construction fleet working on the Central Interstellar Trade Station participates in this battle. A veritable flying circus with all the top sovereign officials in the front row as the defense is drawn outside of Venus orbit. With this final victory achieved outside of the first Sovereign Interstellar Parliamentary Summit, the future of the sovereignty of man transforms from a fledgling species of spacefaring humans trying to survive in the galaxy to the beginnings of a juggernaut ready to dominate all that surrounds them. In this bright future and in further episodes, I am confident that you will see humanity rise to greatness. For it seems that the time for struggle is over. The time to dominate and prosper is here upon us. Thank you for watching my channel and this show. This is something I love to do. And to those who support me in this, you have my utmost gratitude. I wish more people would view what I do here, as I feel it is my art. As with all that is art, it must develop over time and hard work. So every episode is practice for the next episode to be better. Focus is key also. It really is to my everlasting joy, though, to be in a time and place in my life to tell stories and make pictures captured in the canvas of digital video and time. I give special thanks to Kerberos for developing this video game, which gives me the tools and a platform to create a story such as this one. Please let my happiness reflect upon you as we all wait to see humanity's future struggle in Sword of the Stars 2, The End of Flesh.